What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian Colon from House of Rasslin, and this is my review for the September 23rd Impact Plus special Victory Road from Impact Wrestling. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you are notified when House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And this special, man, where do I start? It was a good special and everything, but one of the issues I have with Impact Wrestling is hopefully this changes in 2023. I do know that Bound for Glory is going to happen on October 7th. That is a Friday. And this is getting to my issue with them is I hope next year they don't have a lot of specials on the same day that there's like major pay-per-views from either WWE or AEW. It just, I don't know. It's, for me, now it's starting to get like, hey, there's other days that you could like put this show on where we could have our undivided attention. And that's my main issue, is that a lot of these shows that Impact Wrestling has had where there was other wrestling shows, it's hard to really be 100% invested in it when at the same time, either it's starting at the same time or it's starting like halfway through another show, but like you're still focused on what's happening on that other show. And, this Victory Road, it aired the same time as SmackDown, which WWE had the teaser going on as far as the White Rabbit, and then of course there was QR code on the show, and then of course on social media there was the video leading to the coordinates of where Raw is going to be, and the whole bloodline thing, and you had that intrigue and interest in WWE, which it's renewed because of Triple H, and then you have AEW Grand Slam, and you have a stacked card of 8 matches, 2-hour special of Rampage. So you have 2 solid shows. Mind you, WWE and AEW on Fridays, they don't run at the same time. It's, WWE goes on at 7, and then Rampage goes on at 9 Chicago time. And Impact Wrestling is airing through both shows, and it's just like, for me, it's not fair to the wrestlers that are wrestling. Like, hey, you have a fan base that are really invested, and that's why I at least attempt to do as many Impact Wrestling views, because one, I know there's an audience, and for those of you who watch it, you like it and you enjoy it and everything. And it's like, man, you're doing not only the wrestlers, but like the fans of your product an injustice when you air at the same time as WWE and AEW. And, there was times where there was a New Japan event and they had airing at the same time. Like, I don't know. I hope it changes in 2023, because a lot of times when Impact Wrestling is airing at the same time as a WWE, AEW, I know there's a few independent shows that were going on in Chicago at the same time. But also, whether it's even NWA, you're airing at the same time as these other companies, and it's like, you look on the calendar, and for me, I have all these shows and dates in my calendar and everything, and you look and it's like, man, there's a Sunday open, there's a Saturday open, like there's these days that are open. Like, why do you keep selecting dates where other wrestling promotions are airing? Like, it just doesn't do any justice. And I don't know, I hope it changes, because this was a really good show. And what I've said in previous reviews, I know it's been a while, guys, forgive me, it's just really hard to do these reviews, especially on a Thursday coming after a Dynamite review and watching Raw and NXT and live tweeting and stuff like that. But one thing I've noticed is that the women's division, the Knockouts division, is still strong, still thriving, but it does seem that the main event scene and the tag team scene is just very, very thin. It's not like they got to build it up and everything. But this was a solid show. It would have been perfect if this show was on a Saturday night. Would have been good because there's like nothing on Saturday. But yeah, it still baffles me why they continue to do that. It just doesn't do them justice. But man, this card was pretty solid. You did have a surprise on here, which, very interesting. The surprise that happened on Victory Road. But before I get into all that happened on Victory Road, not everything, because we'll be here. This review will be freaking 2 hours and 50 minutes as the event was. But starting off, you had Mike Bailey. He defeated Delirious. You had the Motor City Machine Guns. They defeated PCO and Vincent. You had Mickey James defeat Giselle Shaw. You had Frankie Kazarian. He is the #1 contender for the X Division Championship. And you had Eddie Edwards, Matt Taven, and Mike Bennett defeat Josh Alexander, Heath, and Rich Swann. You had Jordan Grace defeat Max the Impaler, which I want to get into that match because that, to me, was the match of the night. And finally, you had Steve Macklin defeat Sammy Callahan and Moose in a barbed wire massacre match. And those are the results. It's, man. Impact Wrestling, man. Impact Wrestling. They started the year off so strong from January all the way up till... I do got to say this, and I'll get into the first match and everything. I do believe that when it was decided to kick the Guerrillas of Destiny out of Bullet Club, that really, like whatever momentum Impact had, it like just slowed down, and it hasn't been the same. And the same for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Even though they had the G1 and it's good and everything, it just doesn't feel like, if nothing's broke, why fix it? And I think that's what happened with, and then I'm talking about New Japan in this Impact review, but it coincides because it's like, what was the end game with that? Granted, Tama Tonga is having a great singles run. He's doing something different. He's having a ball and everything. It's very new, and he's teaming with people that he necessarily didn't team with before, which, if that's the end goal, hey, that makes sense. But it does feel like ever since that event, which was No Surrender, when month was that? I can't remember the month. But it does feel like ever since that pay-per-view, Impact Wrestling really hasn't gone to the next level. And I know many of you who've watched my reviews, I've said that, man, Impact Wrestling is on a roll. It's like, man, are they going to hit that next level where it's like, okay, man, they're here and boom, and it just feels like Impact Wrestling is right back to that same place of where the women's division is thriving, but like I said, the main event scene and the tag team scene is like very thin as far as just these attractions that you want to see. And it's concerning because it's, things are heating up in WWE, things are heating up in AEW. You're having MLW come back this fall. You're having, New Japan Pro Wrestling starting to get some things going. We might see some, it's around this time of year that New Japan starts really ramping things up for Wrestle Kingdom in January, which is, we're in September, 3 months away. So they're already preparing for Wrestle Kingdom. So it's just like Impact Wrestling. It's like, man, you started the year so strong, and it just feels like they're they're not going down, but it's just like they're stuck. It's like a revolving door. Like it's not something that's going forward. It's just going around. It's like, oh man, come on, Impact Wrestling, man. This was so good, man. You had a lot of good stuff, and it's just, but man, the first match, Mike Bailey, Delirious, a lot of technical athleticism, man. That's the best thing I could describe with this match. Watching Mike Bailey's offense against Delirious, this was a treat. This first match was a treat. I recommend you guys see this match. I had so much fun watching this match because it was just, when you watch these guys who were very athletic and they had, this technical wrestling style, and it's just, these counters and reversals and everything is very artistic, and it's very entertaining to see these guys pull off these moves, and you're just like, man, who's gonna really win this match? Like, man, some of these moves you don't even think are possible, and they execute. It's like, oh wow, this is crazy, but very entertaining. In the end, Mike Bailey, he wins with the Flamingo Driver. 1, 2, 3. He wins. Like I said, man, this match was very, very good. Mike Bailey's offense, his kicks, his strikes. There was a point in the match where Delirious was leaning back with like all the way, like when you sit on your knees and you go all the way back, like Mike Bailey wound up doing a moonsault on him while his legs were contorted. It was a crazy thing. But man, that was a really good match. The X Division always puts on solid matches in Impact Wrestling. That's one thing, is a constant. I did notice, this is something that I noticed while I was watching the Motor City Machine Guns match. I think one of the issues with Impact Wrestling is when it first started, going all the way up till 2010, I think one of the issues with Impact Wrestling is it's gotten too slow. And it's not a knock at them, but it's just the product, the way it goes about things. It's going too slow. Maybe it's because when it was TNA, it was total nonstop action. It was just boom, 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 boom. But it does feel like Impact Wrestling has gotten slow as far as just going through things, and just, an entire show is just very slow. The women, the knockouts match is not necessarily, they are not slow or anything, but it just feels like everything else is just very slow and just, okay, we're going here, and it's like, we want some action, like, let's keep it moving. And I think that's one of the issues. But man, this match was a great match to start off the show with. Mike Bailey, he's still the X Division champ, which that was a perfect call to have him as the X Division champ. Then we get a backstage segment with Honor No More, and we get Eddie Edwards still picking on PCO like, I don't trust you. And I've heard this dialogue, this talk on social media, as far as Honor No More and everything. And I'm almost there to where I'm asking myself, okay, where is this going with Honor No More? Like, are they going to go to another rival promotion? Are they going to, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett have, gone to NWA. Like, is this going to lead to a crossover with AEW at some point? Where is this going? Especially with the PCO and Eddie Edwards conflict. It's just like, and he keeps saying he doesn't trust them, and it's going on, I think, 3 months that they've been doing this, and it doesn't seem like there's going to be a turn. It's just, he just picks on them, and it's just like, kind of wish this was going somewhere, but it's all right. It is what it is. Then we get the Motor City Machine Guns versus PCO and Vincent. Man, oh man. The Motor City Machine Guns. This was a nice balance of Motor City Machine Guns with their speed, athleticism, and just flying around the ring. Like, just 2-man tandem. Man, that tag team. There's a reason why they were Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions so many times, because those guys, they put on a show, and this was a show. And it was a nice contrast because PCO and Vincent, they have more of a power, uh, technical, strategic, uh, methodical approach to their style. So you had these two different styles that were coming together, and it was so cool. The spot where Vincent, and this is a key thing to keep an eye on, Vincent accidentally hit PCO twice. So that's something to keep in mind on the promo they had before, and then hitting them twice. So is it eventually leading to them kicking out PCO, or is it something PCO just snaps on everybody and he just becomes this monster? And that's the other thing, like PCO, where is his character going? You know, and I think that's one thing, kind of an issue with Impact Wrestling, that the PCO, like his matches are, granted, his matches are hardcore and everything, but it just seems like um, that's just the only thing that he does. Like, there's no dialogue, there's no, I don't know, it's just that. Like, he just does hardcore matches and that's it. Again, the question that a lot of people are asking, even myself, like, where is this going? Like, you came in as invaders and now, where's this going? But in the end, Motor City Machine Guns, they do a double team electric chair, cradle slam for the win. Man, they've been on a roll. They were at All Out and had a decent match. That was a really good, fun match that they had at All Out with Jay Lethal and FTR, and I believe it was Wardlow. Yeah, Wardlow. They've been on a roll. They have been having some quality matches. Good to see Chris Sabin back healthy and Alex Shelley healthy, and those guys are just been great. Then we get a video package of Mickie James discussing the whole situation is if she loses one match, it's over. And she faced Giselle Shaw. Giselle Shaw comes out with a happy retirement balloon, and it's like, ooh, just getting in her head, like, you're gonna retire. But man, this was a solid match. Like, that's one thing with the Knockouts division in Impact Wrestling. You are not gonna get a bad match, and it just feels like, in watching this match and then the Jordan Grace and Max the Impaler match, it just feels like there's more character depth and there's more intrigue and more. I don't know where this is going, but I want to keep watching because this is so interesting and I enjoy these characters. And this match was no exception. This was a fun match. There was a part where Mickie James, she injured her shoulder, and Giselle Shaw just started working on the shoulder. And it was just the pacing. That's the other thing. The Knockouts division and their pacing, like their pacing in their matches and their execution is totally different from the men's pacing. The women's pacing is just boom, 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 boom. Like, there's a reason, I've said it before this year, that Impact Wrestling, you could argue, has the best women's division in all of pro wrestling because of the match quality that they have. And this was a solid match. Mickie James, if this is her last run, man, she's hitting her P's and Q's, and she's very precise, very efficient, very effective in her moves, bringing that intensity, physicality in this match. She brought it. There was a point where Giselle Shaw tried to do a sliding drop kick under the bottom rope, and Mickie James grabbed the apron curtain and pulled her in, and she hit her and just started beating her up. I was like, ooh, that's Haven't seen that in a while. I wish more wrestlers would do that because that's very creative, especially with in this time where a lot of wrestlers are diving through the ropes and sliding and stuff like that. It's like people should incorporate that in their uh, defensive move. Like that's pretty good. Then you had the coaster dive from Giselle Shaw. From there, it just went back and forth between her and Mickie James, and it was just really good storytelling. And of course, in the back of your mind as a fan, you're like, okay, they're not going to have Giselle Shaw beat Mickie James. But there was certain points like, maybe maybe no. And in the end, Mickie James did the Mick DT for the pin. She beats Giselle Shaw. So she moves on and she's going to Bound for Glory, which we'll get into that a little bit later because there was a backstage segment between her and Mia Yim. But wonderful match. It was fun. It was entertaining. Loved it. The knockouts matches, they deliver. Then we had the triple threat Revolver, which it starts with three wrestlers, forgive me. And when one wrestler is pinned, there's another wrestler that comes in. So you had basically Mia Yim, Laredo Kid, Trey Miguel. They came out. Then you had there was a spot where Trey Miguel did a backwards Hurricanrana, which was dope. But Mia Yim in this match, she pinned two people, which is very good. Mind you, she's the only woman in this match. Then there was a point where Kenny King, he pinned Mia Yim by holding her tight. Was like, you dirty dog. Like, man, you're always sneaky. But it adds to his character, and it's one of those things you're like, how's this going to play out on Impact Wrestling this Thursday? I got to stay tuned because that's very interesting. Because now you have this dynamic of a knockout being cheated out of a match from a male wrestler, and there's going to be some sort of dynamic, which stay tuned. Then you had Uemura in the match. Trey Miguel, he got eliminated. And then the final three were Black Taurus, Kazarian, and Kenny King. Black Taurus just laid in some offense, man. He laid in some offense in this match. This was the eliminations in this match were pretty, like, everyone got their offense in, but it was just boom, 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 boom to get to the final three. Like I said, it was back and forth, but in the end, Kazarian hit the slingshot cutter for the pin, 1, 2, 3, and Kazarian is the number one contender for the X Division Championship, which is very an interesting call. Like I said, Impact Wrestling, it's man, like 4 or 5 months ago, it was just like, oh my God, this is like, man, they're doing some good stuff. And I'm really curious to see why they made this call, considering all the participants in this match, with choosing Kazarian to be the winner. Again, it's one of those things you just got to wait and see, and you just got to watch Impact Wrestling. But I'm really curious to see where this is going to go with Kazarian being the number one contender for the X Division Championship. Of course, Trey Miguel has been in numerous matches for the title, but really interested to see how this plays out, because I don't think anybody predicted freaking Kazarian to win the X Division number one contendership. So just got to see how that goes, but that's very interesting. Then we get a backstage segment with Taya Valkyrie, Rosemary, and Havoc with Gail Kim. And basically they want to get the shot at the tag titles at Bound for Glory. And Taya's like, well, I want Rosemary and Jessica Havoc to do it. Then Deanna and Chelsea Green, they come in and they're teasing them and everything. And then Havoc just shoves both of them into a steel cabinet, and they just walk off and they run away, and they're just laughing and everything. I don't know. It was just one of those segments. I don't know what else to say. It's just building up to a Bound for Glory match between Jessica Havoc and Rosemary versus Deanna Peraza and Chelsea Green. So See where that goes. Then, as they cut back to the arena, music hits, and then Bobby Fish, yes, Bobby Fish, who recently did not renew with AEW, um, showed up. He made a reference to he's like a lightning rod of controversy. At 20 years in this industry, I'm not here for the BS. Impact can't fire me. I kept an eye on the locker room. I'm here to call someone out for uh, less than legit. The locker room is legit dudes. They give 100%, and I'm here to pick a fight. Then you get Raj Singh and Shira. They come out, and uh, Bobby Fish is very condescending to them. He's like, "Am I supposed to know who you are?" And then he starts beating up both of them, puts Raj Singh in a single leg lock, and they leave. So Bobby Fish is in Impact Wrestling. Let's see where this goes. It does feel like from this first presentation that he's like this veteran that's just calling people out on their BS, which it's actually a pretty interesting character on Impact Wrestling. That you just have this veteran guy that's just calling people out on their BS. Like, you put yourself up like this really big shot, like everyone knows you. Not everybody knows you, so shut up. So it's like a humbling veteran guy, and I don't know. That's pretty cool. Let's see how he does here and how Impact utilizes him, and just see where this goes. I could see him and Eric Young in a feud, or possibly as a pairing. I don't know. We'll see where this goes. But Bobby Fish is with Impact Wrestling, so we just see how this plays out. If he has any more snarky and condescending remarks to the heels of Impact Wrestling. Then we get a 6-man tag: Arnold Amore, Matt Taven, Eddie Edwards, and Mike Bennett versus Josh Alexander, Heath. I was going to say Heath Slater, but just Heath, and Rich Swann. One of the issues I have with this card, and I don't know, man, it's Josh Alexander is your, I don't know, man, he's your world champ, like, and that's the thing, man. Impact Wrestling really needs to build up their main event scene and their tag team scene. More so their main event scene, because it's very thin, and it just seems like every month we get a match between Josh Alexander, Eddie Edwards, Moose, Steve Macklin, Sammy Callahan. It seems like we just get those matches every month, and it's been like that for, man, the past 3-4 months. It just feels like that's the same matches that we get. It changes when there's an influx of New Japan guys or AAA guys, or some AEW guys coming over, but it just seems like we get those same matches. And this match was okay. I mean, there was an impressive spot where Josh Alexander did a double suplex on Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, which was freaking phenomenal. Maybe it was Eddie Edwards, but he did do the double suplex. Then there was a spot where Josh Alexander had Eddie Edwards on the top rope, and he was gonna powerbomb, but then he powerbombed him onto Mike Bennett and Matt Taven, which was pretty cool. Then we had, looking over my notes. From there, you just had, man, it's Impact Wrestling has a certain way how they do their 6-man tag matches, and it's just the Impact Wrestling way. It's different from how WWE and AEW do their 6-man tags, which both those companies have their own unique way, but it's kind of similar in some ways. Like, this is very unique, and it always ends up in a spot where someone comes out. There was a Boston knee party from Taven and Mike Bennett, and then you had Eddie Edwards do the Die Hard knee driver on Josh Alexander. 1, 2, 3. He pinned the champ. Don't understand. I don't get it because Heath Slater. I'll call him Heath Slater. Like he's the one that's been, attacking I don't know more and helping Josh Alexander and Rich Swann, but yet you have Josh Alexander take the pin. And it's just I don't know, man. It's that this main event scene and whatever. I don't know what's going on with Impact Wrestling. I know there's been rumors of a few of their champions contracts are expiring, so I don't know if they don't have them under contract or man, I don't know what's going on. Honestly, if there was a point where there was a consolidation with talent, I know ideally, they could put MLW, NWA with Impact. Like I would like to see a lot of talent that's in MLW on Impact Wrestling because man, Impact Wrestling needs an Alex Hammerstone and a Jacob Fatu, and an Alex Kane, an Enzo Amore, Holidead. Like they need an influx of those talents from MLW on Impact Wrestling. But this match, I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, it's Impact Wrestling. Then we get a backstage segment with Mia Yim and Mickie James. And basically, Mickie James asks Mia Yim, like, hey, I want to face you at Bound for Glory. Mia Yim's like, I'm really not to. Like, no, I want to face you. So we're getting Mickie James and Mia Yim at Bound for Glory. Man, is Mickie James gonna lose? Like, is Mia Yim gonna be the one to end Mickie James' streak as far as getting to the championship or whatever? I believe that's what she's going after, to win the championship and retire like that. I don't know. I'm interested to see that match. I can't recall a time when they wrestled each other, but I'm looking forward to it. If they did, probably missed it, but guess what? Not going to miss it this time. Because this is going to be a really good match between Mickie James and Mia Yim. Because Mia Yim and Mickie James have done some great work with Impact Wrestling. Mia Yim, ever since she's returned to Impact Wrestling, man, she has had nothing but quality matches throughout. Like she's put on some great matches. And oh my God, what was the match with? Oh man, it was Tasha Steelz and it was like a hardcore match. I can't remember. Forgive me, guys. Comment below which match it was. It was, oh my God, Deonna Purrazzo in there, Chelsea Green. It was the table spot where they went through the tables. Forgive me, guys. I can't remember. Oh my God, it's on the tip of my tongue, but I'll probably remember after I finish recording this review. But yeah, Mia Yim has been on a roll with this company ever since she's been there. And I know Jordynne Grace is the champion, but man, eventually, like, gonna have to put that belt on Mia Yim. And what's great about the Knockouts division, like I said, you got Killer Kelly, you got Marsha Slamovich. Those two are pretty much like the next ones that you're just like, okay, they could possibly be the next Knockouts champion within the next 6 months. Like they could easily be; those two could be Knockout champions, including Giselle Shaw. Like that's another one you could throw in there. Then we get, for me, the match of the night: Jordynne Grace and Max the Impaler. This was a fantastic match. Both women are known for their strengths, and they did not disappoint, man. They did not disappoint. There was a point where Max the Impaler, she caught Jordynne Grace as she dove and she slammed, man. The way she slammed her on that apron, oh my God. Like I screamed like, oh, like she hit that shit hard, man. And if you watch Max the Impaler matches, man, Max the Impaler does not disappoint on intensity, tenacity, physicality, power, strength, brutality, anything that involves a person taking a beating and taking a severe beating. She does not disappoint. Maxine Taylor does not disappoint. And the dichotomy between Jordynne Grace and Maxine Taylor, like, this was a wonderful match. I wish Impact Wrestling has more of these matches throughout their card where it's just like, ooh, this is a really interesting and unique match. And that's why, for me, I'm a big fan of Maxine Taylor, because Maxine Taylor is so different and unique. That's not someone you see walking down the street. That's not someone you see on any other channel. When you see Maxine Taylor on TV, you're like, I have to see this. And I've actually seen Maxine Taylor in person at Women's Wrestling Army here in Chicago at the Logan Square Auditorium, and you have to see her live. Like, she's that attraction, and she is so good. But man, there was the oh my god, what was it? I know the armbar slam on the ramp by Jordynne Grace. Maxine Taylor, the spear that she did on Jordynne Grace was insane. Like I said, the shoulder block that they were trading shoulder blocks and weren't given, and Maxine Taylor just boom. I was disappointed in the end who won. Jordynne Grace eventually did the Queen's Driver, pinned Maxine Taylor 1, 2, 3. Maxine Taylor needs to hold a title at least once in Impact, where NWA, she needs to hold the women's championship, because she is the most over women's wrestler in all of professional wrestling, and yet for some reason these companies do not give her a championship. Like, she is the obstacle. She is the epitome of an obstacle that you want someone to go through to win a championship. Like, Maxine Taylor is that. And I was just like, oh man, like, she lost. But then again, Jordynne Grace, like, I've been following her since All In 2019, and like, her work is just phenomenal. This was a fantastic match, man. Like, you have to watch this match. The physicality, the strength, like I said, the brutality, the physicality that both Jordynne Grace and Maxine Taylor they just beat each other up, man. They just beat each other up. After the match, Jordynne Grace, she grabs the microphone and she's like, well, pick your poison, goes both ways. And mind you, she's in a feud with Masha Slamovich. And what do we have next week on Impact Wrestling? We're getting Allie Katch. Yes, Allie Katch, who's known for the tag team Bussy with Effie. So you're getting Allie Katch versus Masha Slamovich in a Monsters Ball match. That is going to be bonkers and insane. I'm looking forward to that match. That's going to be fun. Hoo boy, that's going to be a good one. Then we get a video recap of the Moose, Sammy Callahan, Steve Macklin match. Then we get the Barbed Wire match, Barbed Wire Massacre between Moose, Steve Macklin, and Sammy Callahan. This match was just very physical. Just insane spots. It does feel like this year, like Sammy Callahan, like that's those crazy matches his, but it does feel like we've seen a lot of Moose involved in a lot of these real wild, crazy, hardcore matches. And it's interesting by that, but this main event, I mean, it was wild and crazy. It was to be expected, but it does feel like, and I know a lot of people have said this about AEW as far as too much blood, but it does feel like Impact Wrestling in the last few months, and by few months, like last 4 or 5 months, like they've leaned heavily into a lot of hardcore matches. And it's like it just feels like every month or so, we're getting a hardcore match of some sorts, or actually every other week or something like that. There's some form of a hardcore match that we're getting, and just like, like, and I know people are like, oh well, no, AEW doesn't. It's like, no, like, granted, like I said before in the beginning of this video, like, Impact Wrestling really needs to build up their main event scene. Like, it's very thin. Um, and it's not a shot at the guys that are on the main event scene, but they need Moose, Sammy Callahan, Steve Macklin need more guys to work with besides themselves for the next 3 months. Like, they need more guys to work with to give them some breathing room where it's not like, okay, we've seen Steve Macklin and Moose wrestle, 4 or 5 times in the last, 4 months, or, Moose and Sammy Callahan, which is a feud that's been going on for a while. Like, mix it up and give these guys breathing room where it's evolves into something different and fresh for the product. But man, the spot, just a few spots that they did. Death Valley driver into barbed wire table, a suplex to the floor off the steel steps. Sammy Callahan used an N64 controller wrapped in barbed wire. Then there was a choke slam on a coil of barbed wire. Moose executed on Sammy Callahan. Then there was the Macklin chair shot while... No. Yes, there was the Macklin chair shot while Moose attempted to do a spear, which that looked slick. That was a really cool spot. Then you had Sammy powerbomb Macklin on a door with barbed wire, which, again, another crazy spot. But in the end, Macklin got his DDT on a table with the pin. 1, 2, 3. Macklin wins. I don't know where this goes. I really don't know where this goes. But this is one feud I hope ends quickly. And like, this just shows that, like, it was a fun match to watch, but it's more like, okay, we've seen this dynamic of Macklin, Sammy Callahan, and Moose wrestle each other in some form for a while now. Like, we want something new. We want something fresh. We want something different. People who enjoy Impact Wrestling, like, come on, we want something new. And, for me, it's, I don't want to say disappointing, but it's just more of a letdown. Like, man, like, Impact Wrestling, like, the first 6 months, like, man, this was so, like, oh my God. They were just hitting on all cylinders, boom. While AEW was, like, going through this up and down thing with Rampage and Dynamite and all the changes and signees and everything. It was like Impact Wrestling just had the most consistent show. And now it just feels like Impact Wrestling, I don't want to say it doesn't have a consistent show, but it just feels like it has a very thin show. That's it. Impact Wrestling has a thin show as far as their main event scene for their men's and tag team division. And it just seems like if they would just really switch the dynamic and have the women's division lead Impact Wrestling and have the men's division be in the role that the Knockouts division is right now, it would be somewhat a little bit better and interesting, because let's face it, if it wasn't for the Knockouts division, how many people would actually tune in to Impact Wrestling? So that's something to really think about. And, this past Impact Wrestling was really a fun, solid show. It's like boom, 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 boom. But man, the special was just like you need something fresh and new, because, in the next month or so, depending on what WWE and AEW does, like, their product is going to go to another level. And it just feels like Impact Wrestling, the beginning of the year, it felt like, man, they're going to go to that next level. And it just feels like the last 3 months is just, we're here. I don't know if we're going to go to the next level, but we're here. And it's unfortunate, man, because there's a lot of talented wrestlers, but I don't know if it's creative or what have you, but it's just like, ugh. But it is what it is. But this is my review for Impact Wrestling's Victory Road, September 23rd, 2022. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you are notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, I'm out.